In the Formula One silly season, there are two distinct groups. There are the constructors who build the racing cars, and the drivers who say they've never heard anything about driving these cars and won't be racing for those constructors. These are their stories. So, a recap. Sebastian Vettel announced his retirement close to the end of last week, and on Monday, there was the shock announcement that Fernando Alonso will be going to Aston Martin to replace Vettel. Which then starts the, yeah, finally, Oscar Piastri will get what he deserves in a seat with Alpine. You know, the most logical way of doing things. And we all thought the inevitable had happened yesterday when Alpine announced that Piastri would be driving alongside Ocon in 2023. Cool. As we expected. This isn't news, we all knew this was happening. Until a tweet was tweeted by Piastri saying that he hadn't agreed to this, didn't know about this, and would absolutely not be driving for Alpine next year. So all that hype for nothing. It had eerily similar hallmarks to the whole Alex Palou situation currently going on in IndyCar. The statements being left by both drivers on Twitter were similar, and the legal back and forth is probably going to end up being similar as well. With Palou, it's a dispute between McLaren and Chip Ganassi Racing. With Piastri, it's a dispute between McLaren and Alpine. Piastri supposedly has a clause in his contract that says he needs to be confirmed as a driver at Alpine by the 31st of July 2022, the day on which his contract expires and the day football came home. Meanwhile, he's been heavily linked with McLaren and Williams due to Piastri not being able to get a seat for this season, which has caused a bit of background murmuring since McLaren seem to be picking up drivers like Pokemon at the minute. Daniel Ricciardo, Colton Herta, Piastri, Patricio O'Ward and Dave, who runs the chip shop, all supposed to be in that seat next year. So the reckoning is Alpine had activated this contract clause while Piastri was out of contract because it was all done after this July the 31st deadline. But it's all made a little bit more confusing because Piastri has supposedly been in talks with McLaren for some time and supposedly as well has a pre-contract with them. Meanwhile, you've got Alpine saying now that Alonso to Aston Martin was something they only found out about through the social media announcements, while it's reckoned that Alonso was in talk with Aston Martin as early as the Canadian Grand Prix, or even before, as Vettel weighed up his options for retirement. Alonso left Alpine because he didn't like the contract options, and Aston Martin was giving him something better. Alpine also claimed yesterday that they couldn't get hold of Alonso because he was on some sort of boat in Greece. But as soon as the news broke about Piastri not knowing what was going on, Alonso uploaded an Instagram story from Oviedo in Spain where he simply gave a thumbs up to the camera. Now, that would normally be some sort of coincidence. You know, Lewis Hamilton puts up posts saying, I hope you're having a lovely day all the time, but this is Alonso. This is F1's king of shithousery. Then you've got Omar Safnauer saying that it was virtually impossible for the team to get hold of Piastri's manager, who is the former Red Bull and Porsche endurance driver, Mark Webber, saying that Webber was in Australia and, they couldn't get hold of him. But it later turned out that Webber was in England the whole time because he was at the Formula E event in London where he was talking to none other than Zak Brown, the CEO of McLaren and also heavily involved with the Andretti United Autosport stuff in V8 Supercars, Extreme E, Formula E and endurance racing. It's hard to determine what exactly is going on. For this video I need one of those, cork boards with the pins that detectives use with the red string linking everything together, but initial analysis points in the direction of Vettel's retirement starting this chain reaction. Vettel was considering his retirement, so Aston started talking to Alonso and through conversation was able to give him what he wanted, a 2-year guaranteed contract as opposed to Alpine's 1-year contract. Vettel then announced his retirement and the deal with Alonso went through a few days later, coincidentally or not coincidentally, after Piastri's Alpine contract expired. It could be that Alpine was not anticipating Alonso to go and when he did announce that he was leaving, failed to notice that Piastri's contract had expired or was about to expire and didn't attempt to tie the Australian down with a new contract to enable him to actually race for Alpine in 2022, believing that they still had Piastri locked in for a race seat whenever. But thankfully for Piastri, he and Webber had been talking to McLaren, which gives Piastri a chance for next year because, as of Monday, he's a free agent. But there is just one obstacle in the way, and that's Daniel Ricciardo. Now, Ricciardo has been underperforming. He sits 12th in the standings while Norris is in 7th, and as a result McLaren could be handing Alpine 4th in the Constructors on a plate due to Ricciardo not performing. Now, speculation about Ricciardo leaving F1 entirely has been running round, with him potentially heading to America to do IndyCar for McLaren over there, but the whole situation with Palou is just confusing things. And Ricciardo has until September to decide what he wants to do, which could open the door for him to spend another term at Alpine while Piastri goes to McLaren. This in turn would shut the door in the faces of O'Ward, Herta and Palou, but it gives Piastri an F1 seat for 2023, which would be the right signing, in inverted commas. And speaking of IndyCar, the fans over there must be raging. Just a week or so ago, motorsport social media and motorsport journalists were all over the Palou situation, and it was bringing some much needed coverage to the category, given that, IndyCar seems rather reluctant to tell people what network the races are on, let alone anything else. But then Piastri and Alpine come along and cause so much carnage that even Ryanair are throwing shade, and Specsavers threw a meme into the mix. Alpine losing one driver through not paying attention is bad. Losing two through not paying attention is a massive cock-up. So then, if Piastri is to make it into Formula 1 next season, he needs to wait on Ricciardo, but there is still the glimmer of hope for a seat at Williams, even though Piastri doesn't particularly want to go there. But Alpine can still drag the whole thing through the courts, similar to the whole Jenson-Button contract dispute of 2004, where he was looking set to go back to Williams, only for the courts to rule in favour of BAR. But life turned out alright for Jenson on that front. Williams went backwards, and he won a world championship. Life won't imitate itself, but it's nice to have those things to think about. But with Piastri, will he have cleverly arranged himself into a McLaren seat knowing he might not get a seat at Alpine, or will he have played a game that's got a door slammed in his face? So then, this has been a thing that's happened in the world of motorsport, and this has been my opinions on that thing. If this thing has made you think things about this particular thing, then do the like, thumbs up thing, and also subscribe to this thing so you never miss out on anything that I do here. Yeah, it's a quick turnaround on this video. I'm going to the Commonwealth Games later, so got other stuff I need to get done as well as this. Massive thanks to the people of Patreon, and if you want to help contribute to the Image Buying Fund, you can help out by following the link in the description, where there's also links to Discord and also to my social media. So until next time, I've been Millward. Have a great day wherever you are, and goodbye.